Welcome back to another podcast with your host, Miriam Khan. This is Raise Your Vibes. Today's topic is quite an interesting one. We're going to discuss whether it's good to get bitter or to get better. And which one are you? Which category would you put yourself in? So let's look at bitterness first. You know, in life, we all face different milestones, different episodes, different scenarios, different encounters with friendships, with work, relationships, any sort of aspect that encompasses us as a human being and as a human soul, where we face milestones of rejection, milestones of not getting that perfect job, for example, that we've been dreaming for, working for. Perhaps our friendships that we've had for many, many, many years have ended, all of a sudden. Perhaps someone we know has got that dream car that we've always wanted, There's different scenarios like that are around us all the time. And sometimes, without meaning to do so, we as human beings have this trait where we hold on to this bitterness within us. Think of it as like a sour lemon, It's almost this acidic sort of entity that hangs around us, and it can keep within us, it can keep within our soul, it can keep within our personality, it can keep within our ego. And there are times when, unfortunately, it can linger as well, and it holds on to more resentment and more bitterness if we allow it to do so. And that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this particular top podcast, because even in 2021, there appears to be more and more people holding on to sort of bitterness rather than moving forward and getting on with their lives. When certain episodes happen to us, whether it's missing out on a job promotion, whether it's not getting the car of our dreams, or whatever it is that we were trying to work hard towards, some of us don't look at that as, well, I tried my hardest, I tried my best, I persevered, I did everything I could. And instead of saying to myself, okay, I tried, I didn't succeed, but I tried. Or, that particular job that I went for, that particular promotion I went for, actually, upon reflection, when I sit back and look at it, yeah, the other candidate is probably the better person to have for that particular job. Or actually, it's been a blessing in disguise, because now I'm going to pursue this particular career, or I'm going to focus on this aspect of myself, or pat on my back that I tried. You can look at it in many, many, many different perspectives. The thing is, there are some individuals out there that don't do that. They don't look at that positivity that comes out of that experience. They don't look at it as a lesson learned. They don't look at it as, okay, this chapter, this episode, this particular promotion, that wasn't for me. And I'm due to be destined for better things, onwards and upwards, sort of like, nostalgia, sort of wishful thinking. And that's sort of like positivity of thinking, okay, I'm going to try something else. I'm going to do something else. Instead, we have this bitterness and we hold on to it. Not all of us. It's a small minority that does it. And sometimes we don't realize we're doing it either. Sometimes we're doing it subconsciously. There are people out there that are doing it quite openly as well, to be honest. And that's where it's concerning, because you're channeling your energy into the wrong thing. You're channeling your energy into this bitterness, into this negativity, and it ends up being this toxic negative cycle that many people continue to stay with for a long time. I can recall, years and years and years ago, where I was senior leadership position in a school, and at the interview, obviously there were other candidates. I was fortunate and very proud to, be accepted for this particular position. And about a year later, with one of my kids that I was supporting and helping, we needed some additional support for this child. He was special educational needs, and he needed what we call outreach workers, okay? So you have to go through the authorities. You have to explain why this particular student or child needs additional support, additional material, additional input from an experienced adult in that particular field. And with the blessing of his parents and support of his parents in the school, you did that. And then you wait for this person hopefully to get in touch so that this young person can get that extra mentorship, support, help and guidance in that particular field. And this particular boy, it happened to be autism. There's additional resources and help he needed. When this person came along, I honestly did not recognize the person, didn't twig who they were, but they remembered me. And this young person that had come to help this young man was actually one of the candidates who didn't get the position that I got. And all the way through, I'm laughing because I find it hilarious, okay? Not funny at the time, but it was quite funny thinking this individual held on to this bitterness and this resentment and made sure that I was alert and I was aware of the fact that now they were holding this sort of egotistical power over me. And questions like, don't you remember me? And my honest response was no, because I can be quite direct like that. And then this person reminded me they'd been in the interview, and I was like, oh, okay, and your point is. And they continued to make it a whole big thing about them and not the individual that were there for, which is understandably I was annoyed about, and I dealt with that at the time. But the line of questioning was all about, so why do you need me? Why am I better than you? And there was this, understandably, there was this bitterness there for not having gained the job that she felt that she should have got, And one thing that people do when they are bitter is they hold on to it. I mean, it'd been over a year that this person and I hadn't seen each other. I'd met them in an interview. Obviously, I got the job. But they'd held on to that bitterness for such a long, long time, And it had driven them to be resentful. It had driven them to be evil and nasty. Evil might be a strong word, but, having this ego about proving other people wrong and being vindictive, being resentful, being egotistical, instead of being there as a service to that child, and supporting that child. I mean, eventually, that person was there only for a short period of time, and I managed to get other people to work with this young boy because it was quite evident that her, professionalism was not there. And that's the other thing, that when you're holding on to ego, you're holding on to bitterness, and you're holding on to resentment, your whole intention of your job or whatever it is you're supposed to be doing goes out the window because you're not being honourable to your intentions. You're not being realistic. You're not being sensible. You're not being authentic. At the end of the day, this lady, for example, was meant to be there as a support mechanism for the most weak and young, vulnerable members within our society. And instead, she's making it a whole big thing about herself. So bitterness can, take up a lot of time. Some individuals be holding on to that bitterness for a long time. Yes, in some respects, it channels them, it gives them energy, it fuels them to move forward and makes them persevere. But is that necessarily the right thing to do? Bitterness can, in some cases, be extreme as well. Some individuals, some people use that bitterness in a very, 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 very argumentative way as well. They will see it as an ego-driven boost where they feel that they're entitled to various things or various positions or various aspects of authority or leadership within a particular company or within a particular place of work because they feel entitled as well. And that's the other thing with bitterness, that they have this built-up ego where they think that they deserve a particular promotion because of maybe who they're married to or maybe who they know, not necessarily because they've got the right qualifications and experience, but because they personally feel it's their God-given right to have that particular position. And again, that builds up resentment and it builds up bitterness when they don't get those particular jobs and they don't get that particular promotion. And it fuels this fire. Not one of positivity, I might add. Instead, it's negativity. So bitterness can, take over. You'll have seen, police files, police clips, news reports, where unfortunately some bitterness can end up so severe that unfortunately it's led to deaths. It's led to hurting people in a horrible, horrible way. And again, we have to look at our society and we have to look at our individuals and look at things and think, where's the humility and where's the humanity? Because it doesn't exist. The yin and the yang are sort of unbalanced and it's gone. So it can, unfortunately, break situations. It can break partnerships. It can break friendships because you'll know people who you've cared for, who you've loved. And some people can have bitterness momentarily. It's an episode we go through. We might have resentment for not getting that particular job like I've discussed. But then we get over it. We get over that anxiety. We get over that angst. We get over that rejection. And we work within ourselves. We go inwards. But if we don't do that balancing act, if we don't do that processing stage, then unfortunately it leads to lots of negativity. So how do we bounce back? How do we go forward? What do we do to put things right? Well, the other side of the coin is getting better. Like I said, instead of being bitter, get better. So if you've gone for a job promotion and they've said to you, for example, you need more people or leadership skills, then that's something you need to work on. You might not necessarily go for the next job promotion, but it's something that you try to develop. It's something you try to build on. It's something you work upon. In some scenarios, some individuals don't stay in that working environment or friendship environment, Instead, we move forward. That could be your other aspect of doing better. You might be out of that work environment because maybe that work environment isn't for you. Maybe there's no opportunities for growth because you've outgrown the people there or outgrown the job there. Maybe it's time to go and do something else where you are showing off your leadership skills and your power skills and your job skills. We all come with different aspects, don't we? But it's just a matter of making sure that we are showing off the skills that we have and embracing what we have and sharing it with others. You might have been wanting to do more physical training, more mental training, more leadership skills, and sometimes being in a different environment or volunteering or helping others out in your community, dropping your ego a little bit can help you persevere. You might go off and work on yourself more. It could be that perhaps you decide to set up your own business, your own community, your own leadership skills, where you can embrace some of the skills that you've got, and therefore you are doing better. You're in a completely different zone. You might just go and do your own projects that are just for you, but all the while what you're doing is embracing that part of you that is going to be better. And it's not necessarily bitterness that drives you, it's positivity that drives you. And it could be that you go on to do some amazing things. There might be projects you've been wanting to do for such a long time, you've held back. Skills that you've wanted to do for a long time, you've held back. Maybe you decide to go and do a gap year or a gap life and you just go off travelling if you're financially able to do so. But the point is you are embracing that part of you that needs to grow and needs to develop. Each time we get rejected, it's a wake-up call. And the rejection isn't rejection. It's not part of our path. We're meant to be doing different things. We're meant to be doing other aspects of our lives. We're meant to be leading from within and from without. And maybe starting new challenges, new goals, new life aspects that we want to do. And perhaps we haven't had the chance to do that, So these are different scenarios that we have. The main thing is not letting bitterness stand in our way and not letting bitterness drive us as well, making sure that we go forward. We might have had friends that have hurt us. We might have had friends that have been very, very unsupportive, or have just not been there, or have ended our friendships. Again, there's times when we are bitter about that. But we also have to close that chapter, close that door, and see, say nothing but love and peace on that time we had together, and move forward and be more appreciative of the people that are around us, be more appreciative of the people that are supportive around us. It doesn't matter if you see them every day or not. The point is they're there for us. And the point is that we are in, within that loving, caring environment. And that helps us grow instead of staying in a toxic place or a bitter place that isn't helping us grow. We move forward, and we move forward together or on our own. And the point is reflecting and looking at that aspect and deciding which one you're going to be. Are we going to hold on to that bitterness, or do we allow ourselves to be better and grow? There's lots of examples out there where people have done some amazing, amazing things when they've been rejected or they've been steered into a different path. You only have to look at some of the entrepreneurs and some of the tycoons that we've got out there where they've not allowed bitterness or resentment to hold them back. If anything, they've flown. And they've done some amazing things when they've pushed themselves and channeled themselves and really, really focused on what they can do. And it's those types of people that we have to look out for. It's those types of people we could be. So wherever you are in your cycle of being bitter or better, I know which one I'd choose. Don't let bitterness grind you down. Don't let bitterness stay in that place where it becomes stagnant and it becomes almost to the point where it's a useless tool to hold on to, because it's a dead weight. And whenever you're carrying dead weight, you're not allowing new things to happen. You're not allowing yourself to grow, and you're not allowing new opportunities to fathom and to materialize. So don't stay in the past. Don't stay in the negativity. Stay in the present. Stay in the place of opportunities. Stay in the place where things can happen for you in a positive way, and allow yourself to grow. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Thanks for always being supportive. This has been Raise Your Vibes with Miriam Khan.